I just need everyone to relax with the labeling of employees and their behavior at work, because there's like the loud quitting, the quiet quitting, they're normal people who have different personalities. But that is not what Pew Research Center thinks for some reason. There's a new annoying buzzword for how employees act in the workplace, because apparently employees aren't just quiet quitting anymore. A new Gallup report, so it wasn't Pew, it was Gallup, reports that almost 1 in 5 employees in America are loud quitting. So John, just take a little guess. What is loud quitting?
Something stupid, probably, if I had to guess. I would assume it's people who are, maybe they're trying to get fired, so they're like, interrupting things, maybe making inappropriate jokes, trying to get fired to get unemployment.
Some of you might wonder, some people wonder, why it is that someone wouldn't just quit. Why are you trying to get fired? But if I'm not mistaken, you're unable to collect unemployment benefits unless you're fired, correct?
I think generally, it depends on the state, the specifics, but yeah, generally that's the idea.
So there is, a reasonable and logical reason why someone would want to get fired as opposed to quitting. But nonetheless, like we mentioned, the term comes from a Gallup report titled State of the Global Workplace. The report surveyed the employee engagement of American workers and sorted them into 3 categories: thriving at work, quiet quitting, and loud quitting. Okay, so as you can see from the graphic we're showing you, thriving at work, 31% of the respondents accounted for that, 52% accounted for quiet quitting, and 17% accounted for loud quitting. Where do you think Cenk would fall in this category if he was employed by us as opposed to us being employed by him? Loud quitting category?
Well, he's loud, but I don't think he's quitting. He's engaged, and he's engaged because he's screaming and pounding the desk.
Totally.
So I think he's a 4th category.
So for those who aren't familiar with what is known as quiet quitting, that's when you put up like minimum effort at the workplace, like you've basically checked out, but you're coasting. You're doing the bare minimum just to get by. And then there's the definition of loud quitting. Let's get to that. These employees take actions that directly harm the organization, undercutting its goals and opposing its leaders. At some point along the way, the trust between employee and employer was severely broken, or the employee has been woefully mismatched to a role, causing constant crises. But why do only 31% of American workers feel engaged? Well, according to the report, the United States tied with East Asia for the region where most workers feel stress. Okay, so the report asked workers if they felt a lot of stress and or anger during their previous day at work. And the results are pretty bad. So 52% of the respondents said that they experienced stress. I'm actually shocked that that wasn't higher. Although they're asking about their previous day at work. Yeah, they're asking about one day. 18% reported feeling anger.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I don't really know what to make of this. I don't really think there's any phenomenon here. I don't think there's really any I don't think it's necessary to label workers in these ways. I just think that different people have different personalities and some are more expressive than others. I know that when I'm unhappy, I'm expressive. I'm so expressive that I will air my grievances on this show, and it's a little awkward for Cenk sometimes, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I think the difference though is that for the first time in history, there are some employees that really like their jobs, and others who don't. So we need terms for it because that's never happened before.
Never happened before. It's totally new.
I hate this so much.
Yeah.
I want to take the English language and not let other people use it because they can't be trusted with it. None of those category names should be what they are. You are not, just because you're engaged, that doesn't mean you're thriving. It's from the point of view, by the way, of the employer that you're engaged. Thriving is from the point of view of the employee. Those are not the same thing.
That's such a great point.
Just because they're working hard doesn't mean that they're benefiting. The quiet quitting, they're not quitting. They're just doing literally the job. The bare minimum is the job. If you wanted it to be more, you'd raise the minimum.
That's such a good point, John. You're making good points.
And loud quitting, you're disagreeing and stuff. First of all, they're not quitting. I don't know why I need to define to you what quitting means.
Right.
They're like undercutting the job. They're sabotaging. First of all, that's definitely a much smaller percentage than they're saying. That's actively attempting to undermine what's going on. It just means people who don't necessarily agree with everything that management is doing. They have a different way of communicating or whatever. I'm sure there's a generational thing to that. None of those terms are what they should be.
No,
and the second one, by the way, is only what it is because quiet quitting was already a thing. Now everything has to be blank quitting. Yep. I don't trust people with slang, basically.
So why do workers feel what they're feeling at the workplace, right? We mentioned how more than half of them feel or reported feeling stressed about the previous day at work. And then a smaller percentage said that they felt anger. Well, there are multiple reasons why these respondents say they felt what they felt. What is stressing out the world's employees? Gallup survey does not ask for specifics, so fantastic. That said,
because it's for employers.
I know.
And they don't care.
But that said, okay, the report did ask employees who identified as quiet quitters what they would change about their jobs, and I'm curious what you think about how they reported, in this report. So. 41% of the quiet quitters wanted to change the engagement or culture within their workplace. For example, that might mean more creative freedom, more approachable managers, clearer goals, and or better pathways to promotion. And look, let's pour one out for the PMC for a second, right? Because the other thing that stands out.
Military corporation?
No, professional managerial class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we're
Blackwater. We miss you, man.
Okay, but no, in all seriousness, middle management, I know that they're despised by most employees. Like, I'm not trying to do a cover story for them, okay? So just calm down for a second. But the point I do want to make is being a good, effective manager that keeps people happy is really hard because every employee has different wants or needs. Some people want to be micromanaged, believe it or not. I'm not one of those people. I can't stand being micromanaged. I lose it. Like my happiness level takes a massive dip the second I feel like I'm being micromanaged. Some people want to, be creative in their jobs and they want to expand their role within the workplace. Others are like, nope, don't add more to my plate. I'm good, So you have to really make an effort to get to know the people you're working with, the people who report to you. And more importantly, I think at the end of the day, everyone craves the same thing. Everyone craves respect and everyone wants to be listened to, right? Like, hear me out. And I think as long as management does that, and as long as people are not being mistreated in the workplace, and as long as they're getting paid a decent wage or salary, everyone's good. Like, we all know that we need to work, we all need to make a living. Let's try to make this process as painless as possible.
Yeah, what you just laid out, great guiding philosophy for an economy that we don't have.
That's true, yeah.
That would be good. We would actually thrive under that.
True.
Yeah.
28% of the quiet quitters wanted better pay and benefits, higher salaries, gas vouchers for commuting costs.
Interesting.
Sounds pretty good. Maybe a little perk that we should band together and ask for.
More people might be comfortable coming back to the office if
never mind
some of the transportation costs were defrayed.
No,
I think you're already here.
Strike that from the record.
You're here right now.
No, I know. I just don't like.
Oh, you don't want other people to be here.
No, I love other people, but we have a shared workspace and we gotta read. And we got to prepare the show.
She's mad because I was talking very loudly about the WWE in the middle of the office pod today.
Pretty much, very distracting. Finally, 16% of quiet quitters wanted their jobs to better support their well-being. Specifically, employees named less overtime, longer breaks, more flexibility to work from home as some of the ways that could happen. And the other 15% of responses were simply categorized as miscellaneous.
Makes sense.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, look, some of that, I guess, more people have access to post-pandemic. I mean, you're a little bit more free to determine things like breaks in some jobs, depends. I mean, obviously there are some people doing remote work that are highly surveilled, but yeah.
I gotta end this with Insider's headline, which was published just today. First, there was quiet quitting. Now, it's become grumpy staying.
I prefer grumpy staying.
I do
That's
too,
more
because that
accurate.
is more accurate.
That is more
Absolutely.
accurate. Insider, you win the internet.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.